In 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper hijacked a Boeing 727, extorted $200,000 from the airline, and then parachuted into a stormy night, never to be seen again. For over 50 years, the FBI has been hunting for him, making this the only unsolved air piracy case in American history. Cooper is just one of several criminals who came incredibly close to pulling off the perfect crime, and in some cases, they actually did. But what separates the ones who got away from those who were caught by the smallest, most unexpected details? The stories I'm about to share will show you just how close some of the world's most wanted criminals came to vanishing forever.
His dog's throat.
Is the dog dead?
It was a clean cut.
But before we dive in, some of the details in the story are extremely disturbing and may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is strongly advised. As always, remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to stay up to date with the channel. All right, let's dive into the video. It's 1976 in Sacramento, California. The suburbs are a postcard of the American dream. White picket fences, cul-de-sacs, families tucked safely in bed. But in the dead of night, something sinister is moving. Homes are invaded, women are attacked, lives are taken. The press dubs him the East Area Rapist, later the original Night Stalker. We now know him as the Golden State Killer. His real name? Joseph James DeAngelo. From 1974 to 1986, DeAngelo terrorized California, linked to at least 13 murders, 50 rapes, and over 100 burglaries across multiple counties. He was a phantom, slipping into homes through unlocked windows, leaving behind nothing but trauma and questions. So how did he evade justice for over 40 years? Let's set the stage. The 1970s were a different era for law enforcement. DNA profiling was science fiction. Fingerprint databases were manual, scattered across jurisdictions. And DeAngelo? He was a master of control. He'd scout neighborhoods for weeks, memorizing routines, mapping escape routes through backyards and canals. He'd break in days before an attack to unlock windows, hide ropes, or plant knives. This wasn't impulse. It was calculated, almost military. But here's what makes your skin crawl. DeAngelo wasn't some drifter living on the fringes. He was a former police officer. That's right. A man trained to uphold the law was using his knowledge to break it. From 1973 to 1976, he worked as a cop in Exeter and Auburn, California, learning investigative techniques, evidence collection, and how to avoid leaving a trace. Fired in 1979 for shoplifting, a dog repellent and a hammer, items later tied to his crimes, he faded into civilian life as a mechanic in Citrus Heights. By day, he was a father, a neighbor, a man you'd pass without a second glance. By night, he was a monster. DeAngelo's methods were chillingly precise. He'd enter homes at night, often targeting couples. He'd wake them with a flashlight and a gun, binding them with ligatures he brought himself. He'd stack dishes on victims' backs, threatening to kill them if he heard a crash. He'd linger, eating food from their kitchens, drinking their beer, taunting them with their own powerlessness. Survivors described his voice, calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. He knew how to instill fear. His crimes spanned Sacramento, Contra Costa, Santa Barbara, and Orange County, but poor communication between police departments meant no one connected the dots. By the late 1980s, the attacks stopped, or so it seemed. The trail went cold. DeAngelo melted back into suburbia, raising a daughter, mowing his lawn, living a life so ordinary it was invisible. For 40 years, he was free. So how did justice finally catch up? In the early 2000s, a cold case investigator named Paul Holes refused to let the case die. He pored over old evidence, pushing for DNA testing as technology advanced. By 2013, they had a DNA profile from crime scenes, semen, blood, touch DNA, but no match in criminal databases. Then came a game changer, genetic genealogy. In 2017, Holes and his team uploaded the killer's DNA to GED Match, a public genealogy database. They found distant relatives, building a family tree that narrowed to a handful of suspects. D'Angelo, now 72, was one of them. Police surveilled him collecting DNA from a discarded item. Some say a tissue, others a coffee cup. In April 2018, the results came back. A match. The Golden State Killer was arrested in his quiet Citrus Heights home, stunned that his past had resurfaced. But here's the question that haunts. What if genetic genealogy hadn't existed? What if Holes hadn't pushed? D'Angelo might still be free, a ghost sipping coffee on his porch. His case exposes the fragility of justice in an era before modern forensics. It took decades, a new science, and one man's obsession to bring him down. And there's a deeper layer. D'Angelo's crimes left communities paralyzed. Sacramento residents installed deadbolts, formed neighborhood watches, lived in fear. Victims and their families waited decades for closure, some never living to see it. What does it say about our systems when a killer can hide for so long? And how many others are out there, their DNA not yet in a database, their crimes unsolved?
Truly sorry to everyone I've hurt.
Aberdeen, New South Wales, 2000. A quiet farming town where everyone knows your name. But beneath the surface, something dark was brewing. Catherine Knight, a slaughterhouse worker with a history of violence, committed a crime so grotesque it shocked a nation. She murdered her partner, John Price, in a way that defies comprehension, stabbing him, skinning him, and attempting to serve his cooked remains to his own children. Knight almost got away, not by disappearing but by manipulating the narrative. She leaned on her abusive past, her mental instability, to paint herself as a victim. But the evidence was undeniable, and a single phone call unraveled her plan. Let's dive into the darkness of this case. Catherine Knight wasn't a stranger to violence. Born in 1955, she grew up in a dysfunctional family, enduring abuse that shaped her volatile personality. By her 20s, she was working in a slaughterhouse skilled with knives, a detail that becomes chilling later. Her relationships were turbulent. Multiple partners reported her aggression, from smashing glass in their faces to swinging knives. But she was also charismatic, able to charm those around her, including John Price. Price, a father of three, met Knight in the 1990s. Their relationship was a storm, passionate but violent. Price took out a restraining order in 1999 after Knight stabbed him in a fight, but he let her back into his life. On February 29, 2000, Knight's rage reached its peak. After an argument, Price went to bed. Knight waited. That night, Knight stabbed Price 37 times as he slept. What followed is almost too horrific to describe. She used her slaughterhouse skills to skin his body with surgical precision, hanging the skin in the living room. She decapitated him, cooked parts of his body, and prepared plates for his children, intending them to eat their father. It's a crime that feels scripted for a horror film, but it was real. Knight's plan? To claim insanity or provocation. She had a history of mental health issues, diagnosed borderline personality disorder, and a documented past as a victim of abuse. She might have believed she could sway a jury, painting Price as the aggressor. But her meticulous actions, sharpening knives, preparing the meal, suggested premeditation, not a spontaneous act. The next morning, Price's co-workers noticed he didn't show up for work. Concerned, they alerted police, who entered his home and found the unthinkable. Knight was arrested, still in the house, claiming amnesia. The evidence was overwhelming: blood, knives, the prepared plates. She pleaded guilty, but argued diminished responsibility. The court didn't buy it. In 2001, she was sentenced to life without parole, the first woman in Australia to receive such a sentence.
His dog's throat.
Is the dog dead?
It was a clean cut, they said.
Before we continue on, if you are enjoying the video so far, please remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't like it, let me know down in the comments. Your support truly means everything. All right, back to the video. Alcatraz the Rock, a fortress in the middle of San Francisco Bay, built to hold the worst of the worst. From 1934 to 1963, it housed names like Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. It was called inescapable. But in 1962, three men, Frank Morris and brothers John and Clarence Anglin, challenged that claim. They didn't just escape, they vanished, leaving one of history's greatest mysteries. Did they drown in the icy waters, or did they rewrite their fates? Frank Morris was a career criminal with a genius-level IQ, arrested for bank robbery. The Anglin brothers, also robbers, were known for their loyalty and resourcefulness. Sent to Alcatraz in the early 1960s, they bonded over a shared goal: freedom. Their plan was audacious, taking months of preparation. Using stolen spoons and a makeshift drill made from a vacuum cleaner motor, they chipped away at the concrete around their cell vents. They crafted dummy heads from plaster, soap, and human hair, placing them in their beds to fool guards. They built a raft and life vests from raincoats, glued with contact cement. On June 11, 1962, they crawled through the vents, climbed to the roof, and slipped into the bay. The next morning, guards found the dummies and sounded the alarm. The FBI launched a massive search: boats, helicopters, divers, but found only scraps of the raft and a paddle. No bodies, no trace. The official report concluded they drowned in the bay's treacherous currents, but no evidence confirmed it. Over the years, theories multiplied. A 1962 letter, allegedly from John Anglin, claimed they survived but offered no proof. Family members reported cryptic messages, like Christmas cards with familiar handwriting. In 2013, a photo surfaced, supposedly showing the brothers in Brazil, but it's unverified. The FBI closed the case in 1979, but the U.S. Marshals still list them as wanted. Houston, Texas, early 1970s. A city booming with oil and opportunity. But in the shadows, a predator was at work. Dean Corll, known as the Candy Man for his family's candy business, was responsible for the murders of at least 28 young boys. His crimes went unnoticed for years, hidden behind a normal facade. How? Because he was a master manipulator, until his own accomplice turned on him. Corll was a quiet man, polite, unassuming. He gave out free candy to kids, earning trust in his community. But from 1970 to 1973, he lured boys, mostly teenagers, to his home, where they were tortured and killed. He used two accomplices, Elmer Wayne Henley and David Brooks, teenagers he groomed with money and drugs. His method was chilling. He'd invite boys to parties promising alcohol or drugs, then trap them. No one suspected a thing, not neighbors, not police. Houston was unaware a serial killer was active. In August 1973, Henley shot Corll during an argument, then confessed, leading police to bodies buried in a boat shed, beaches, and woods. How did Corll evade detection? Police ignored early tips, like a mother reporting her son's disappearance. The lack of forensic tools and coordination helped him. Without Henley's confession, the crimes might still be unknown. The Houston mass murders left the city scarred, families broken. What if Henley hadn't acted? How many more would have died? This case asks, how do we miss the monsters among us?
Texas EquiSearch says there could be up to 20 more victims out there. Our Marcelina.
John Ruffo didn't spill blood, but he stole $350 million in one of the boldest bank frauds ever. Posing as a Philip Morris executive, he tricked banks into funding a fake Project Star. Convicted in 1998, he was released on bail and vanished. With $13 million and no trace, he's still out there, one of the FBI's most wanted. Ruffo's scheme was brilliant. He forged documents, charmed executives, and funneled millions offshore. After his conviction, he drove to a car rental agency, dropped off his vehicle, and disappeared. Sightings have been reported London, Moscow, even Ohio, but none confirmed. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, then check out these videos on the screen now. If you have a topic suggestion, please send it to the email in the description. And as always, remember to like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. And remember, the only thing scarier than these stories is missing out on our next video.